All right, so picking up where we left off before in the laying out your portfolio pages in InDesign, I'm going to start off at the end of my slides here and tell you that what we're going to be talking about now is creating D-masters. So let's get right into that. I'm going to open up my InDesign document where we left off before. I had just completed putting in some drop shadows around the image here. So what I want to do is I want to lock that up and I want to unlock my pages. And the reason for that is on my page background layer, and I want to be on that layer because I'm going to go back out to pages and I'm going to be working again in the master pages, and I wanted that page layer unlocked because that's where I'm doing all of my work. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go right click on that and I'm going to do new master. This one's going to be D and I'm going to call it tabloid. And the reason for that is I might want a larger area to work in than the rest of my pages. And I can mix pages inside of the InDesign document. So I'm going to change the width of the page to 17, leaving it the height of 11. So it's going to be the same height as the other pages, but it'll be twice as wide. And I want to make sure that the orientation, as I'm clicking here to landscape, and say OK. Now it's going to take me into the page up here. You can see it right there. I'm in the D tabloid master. I'm going to grab my magnification tool and hold down my Alt key so I can zoom out and see the whole page. Now let's say, for instance, that I don't want to bring anything in from the outside to create the background for this page. I want to do it right here inside of InDesign. So in order to do that, I'm going to grab my rectangle tool and I'm going to drag a box around the whole window or the whole page. And currently I don't have any color set, but I do have a stroke set. I want to get rid of that stroke. So I'm going to get rid of that. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to apply a color. Go to this here, and I'm going to double click that, and I'm going to establish, or going to use the color that I told you that I had set up before, which, if I remember my numbers correctly, it was, grabbing a piece of paper here on my desk real quick, it's the 66825B, and that should establish that green color right there. So that's the color that that page is going to be. And now I would like to very much get rid of this stroke line around the outside. And I can do that by a number of different things. If I don't want a stroke there, I can take and double click the stroke line and make it the same color. So let's do that. So we're going to do 66825B. And that gets rid of the stroke because the stroke now is the same color as the box itself. Okay, so now I have established a tabloid page, but what I want to do is I want to go back to my C master. I'll let that apply. I'm going to go back to my C master here, double click on that. Because remember, I want to pick up that special character there and I want to put it onto the next page. So I'm going to go edit and I'm going to do copy, and I'm going to go here, double click there and do edit, and we'll do paste in place and see where it ends up. Yeah, it ends up in the middle. That's good. All right, so now I have a D master page, and the D is going to keep track of my page number. So I happen to know, I'm going to go back out to my pages. Okay, so I'm back into the pages layer. This was my first page, and I know that I've got stuff to go on this page and this page, but I know that when I get to this page, I'm going to need a special page. I'm going to need a page that's going to allow me to make things bigger. So if I take this tabloid page and switch it now to page 4, which is right here, and you say use the page master size, you'll notice that it becomes the larger page and it has a 4 right in the middle of it. Good. So that's what I wanted to do. Okay, I'm going to pause this for a minute and come back in with the images that we're going to put into the other pages. Okay, the next thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get out of our pages and go back into layers now. We're done working in pages for the moment, so we're going to lock that back up again, and we're going to unlock images because we're going to be bringing some images into the document to place on these two pages ahead of the tabloid page. So what I want to do is I want to go back out to the portfolio pages folder that I had off to the side here, and I'll drag that in so you can see it. And we're going to be bringing in some images from the resized images folder right there. So I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'll show you the next image that we're going to bring in and place on this page. So in order to do that, we're going to do File and Place. And of course, we're going to go back into that resized images portfolio page. And the image that we're going to use here, if we're following suit with what I had up before, was this image of Tomorrowland that he had. And we're going to bring that one in. And of course, it's this little image or thumbnail that follows my cursor around until I let it apply. All right, so again, I'm going to want to bring down the sizes of the white border space around it. Now, if I wanted to, I could eliminate the white border space altogether. I could just bring that right tight to the edge of the image itself, and that would eliminate it. So I'm going to do that with this one. I didn't do it in the version that I had up for you to look at, but I can show you how easy that is to do. So I'm going to eliminate all the white space around the image itself, and then I'm going to move it up into the space. All right, so now I want to reduce it in size. I'm going to go ahead and hold down Alt and Shift, place my cursor over the corner, and drag it down till it fits the page. Sometimes when you do that, you'll notice that it's not happening the way you want to. Let me see if I can screw it up for you for just a minute so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to undo what I just did. And let's say, for instance, I'm not holding down one of the keys right. I'm holding down Shift but not Control. And I start dragging it down. Well, all of a sudden you'll notice that it's not reducing the size of the image, it's cropping it for me. That's not what I want. So I'm going to do Edit, undo the resize, and again, undo the resize. So you can see I was actually cropping off parts of the image. You need to hold down both Control and Shift at the same time in order to resize that image. I'm going to get it down to about the size that I think that I want for this page. It should be about like that. And with it still selected, I'm going to go up and I'm going to apply that drop shadow that we established in the last video up here. And I'm going to go down to Effects and do drop shadow. Now the drop shadow was already established. I can just say OK. And it applied the drop shadow for me. OK. So I'm all done with applying that image to this page. Let's go down and do a couple images on this page. I don't exactly remember which images I did in the version that I showed you, so I may end up with different versions here than what I had before. We're going to go back in and just willy-nilly grab a couple of images. If I remember correctly, though, I think one of the ones that I had up in here were one of the portrait images, this one here. I know that was on that page. So we're going to open that one. And again, you can see the image is probably a lot larger than I need it to be. I'm going to drag it down so that I've got equal white space around the image itself. And then I'm going to again hold down Control and Shift and reduce the size of that image so that it kind of fits the page like I want it to. And get it into position where I want it, kind of. And then I'm going to go back and find another image. I'm going to go to File and Place. And I think the other image that I had on there was another portrait size image. Can't remember exactly which one it was. I think, if I remember correctly, it was that guy right there. Open that one, let it apply. Now, the thing that's interesting about InDesign is that you can see things really clearly working outside of the actual area itself. You can park stuff off in the workspace on either side of this, and it can stay there. It won't print when you print the document, but it'll be there. So let's say, for instance, I didn't want this image, but I wanted to park it over there for reference and put a different one in here. When I go to print this document, and I can hit W right now, and you can kind of see what it's going to look like in the preview window. You can see the image is there, but it won't print when the document gets printed or when the document gets output to PDF. It just won't exist. So if I hit W again, I get back out of preview mode. I'm going to again grab Control and Shift and downsize the size of that image, and see if I can't get one that kind of fits in here. There we go. Oop. You see where I screwed up there? I moved that, and you want to make sure that you've got the bounding box right around the image itself. There we go. So now I've got those two images in there. Now let's say, for instance, I want to apply some text around these other images. So what I'm going to do is, for the sake of discussion for right now, I'm just going to grab and capture the same copy that I've got right here to demonstrate what I'm going to do. I'm going to lock up my images area again and unlock my text. I'm going to grab this text box, and I'm going to do Edit and Copy. I'm going to get off that page and come down to this page. So I've clicked now while I'm on this page. I'm going to do right click and paste in place. Now you'll notice that the type came in exactly on that page where the last group of copy was above, and that may be okay. And say, for instance, you were going to put the same amount of copy on this page that you had on the last page, that'd be okay. The image is kind of offset a little bit, so I might want to lock up my text and move that image. Wait a minute here. Make sure I grab a hold just of the image and move that image up a little bit and a tiny bit over so as not to crowd that signature too much. So I kind of get it more centered in the page. Now I'm going to lock up my image again, unlock my text, grab this copy and do copy and click off of it, go down to the next page and do edit, paste in place. Now see, the copy is going to run all over the page. That's not what I want. What I want to do is I want to resize this copy window and put part of the copy up here. You'll notice that I have that little plus right there, which means I've got too much copy to fit inside of that window. So what I can do is I hold my cursor over it and click on that. You'll notice this little box of copy starts following me around. That's the excess copy from this window. And I can go over here, click and paste, and I can resize the copy till it fits inside of this window. Now I've still got too much copy. So maybe I had a paragraph that's describing stuff and it's just run on and it's going to go into this next page. So what I can do is I can grab that copy and put it onto this page. Okay, so now I've got this bunch of copy and I don't exactly know where it's going to live yet. It's running really long. So I'm going to just take that and move it to the bottom of the page for right now. So I've got this image and some copy, and these two images and copy on either side of it. Let's not worry about what that copy says right now, but you can see how the copy blocks can be put in and then you can type things into them as suit, make things come. So I'm going to make that one move over a little bit so that it's the same width of that window. I'm going to move this one over so that it kind of lines up with that box of copy or that graphic there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in two larger images here, and I know exactly which one those two are. I'm going to lock my text now because I don't want to work in that. I want to work in my images again. I'm going to go back to images and I'm going to go to File and Place. And the first image that I'm going to bring into that is a shot that I had marked already. It was an image of the Grand Canyon that he did with some futuristic stuff in it, and I had marked it with a long series of letters after it, like this one right here. This is the actual finished sketch. I'm going to grab that one, open it, and place it here. And I'm going to again, I'm going to eliminate the white border around it, or not eliminate it completely, but I'm going to give it a white border so that you see it more as the finished framed piece. So this is his finished framed rendering of that, and we can place it down here. We're going to leave it where it was, because what we're going to do is we're going to bring in his rough sketch of that and put it there. I'm going to click off of that because I don't want to place that new one into that, although I could. And I'll show you a trick here. I'm going to make a right click on that. I'm going to do edit, and I'm going to do copy, and I'm going to do edit. And I'm not going to do paste in place. I'm just going to do paste because I want a duplicate of that, and I want to place that image above this image. Now I can elect to do the rough sketch here with the finished sketch underneath, or I can do the rough sketch underneath the finished sketch. So what I'm going to do, I think I'll do that. I'm going to go here, click, and I'm going to go out and find that file, place. I'm going to find that rough sketch of that, and I think I've got it pretty clearly marked out here. This is why it's important for you to kind of give yourself some notes on these things, so when you're putting things together, there it is right there. You can make it easier for finding stuff and placing things. So I'm going to go ahead and do open, and you'll see it came in almost the right size. It's a little bit too small, so I'm going to have to open that up a little bit in order to get some of the sketch underneath and below and above. And if it's not quite proportional to this one, what I can do is, again, I can grab the corner of this and I can hold my Control and Shift and drag it down in size so that it's more proportional to the space that I want it to be in. It looks as though the rough sketch of it might have been a little bit smaller. But you can see it's the same piece that he was working on in order to create this one here. All right, now let's say, for instance, I want to say something about that, around that. I'm going to highlight both of these now, right? And at the same time, I should be able to go to Object and Effects and Drop Shadow and apply Drop Shadow to each one of them, okay? So you can do two images at the same time. And now what I want to do, I want to lock up my images, go back into my text, and I want to reposition this copy block here so that I end up with some text. I can grab a hold of that. Yeah, we go. Drag it down and shove this over so that the copy now fits inside of a box that kind of corresponds to the framing. I could just as easily grab some copy and place it up in this blank spot up here as well. Now the thing that I didn't do up here was I didn't apply drop shadows to these images. So I'm going to lock up that image, go back to my, or lock up my text, go back to these images, click on both of those. Oh, there we go. Images. Lock up both those images simultaneously, not lock them up, but unlock them, and do Object and do Effects and Drop Shadow and put drop shadows on both of them. So this corresponds pretty well to the document that I was showing you before, which was this layout. And in this one, I had done something different with the page override for the first page, but you can see that we're pretty much where we were with that one, in the same kind of position, general position with this one. So everything seems to be, and so you can see I can continue to add pages to this document. Let's go down here and take a look at the bottom. I'm currently locked in at the bottom here at 8 pages. So let's say I wanted to add more pages. I just go down to the bottom of the page. We're going to go back to the pages so we can keep track of where we're at. And I can keep adding pages. If I'm on this page here, I can keep adding pages below. And these are all C pages, right? So they're all going to keep track. I'm going to keep the numbers. So I've gone down from 8 to 9 to 10 to 11. I want another tabloid page at the bottom of this one. So what I do is I say I want number 11 to be a tabloid page, so I bring that down and I place the number 11 there, use the master page, and this page now becomes an oversized tabloid page. I'm going to zoom out so that you can see all of the pages now lined up. You'll notice I'm in the pages area, not in the masters. Okay? I hope that this will make it much clearer what I'm talking about for laying out your portfolio and ways that you can do it. Again, your mileage is probably going to differ. You're not going to want the same colors. I would limit the number of colors that you're going to use. Keep it under half a dozen because you don't want it to get too garish. It's always brevity is the best policy. So don't use too many colors. Anyway, I think that gets the essence of how you might go about setting up a portfolio for yourself in InDesign. I hope this helps. All for now. See you guys in the next video.